drawings right after Luria's talk for some items. No? Yes? But not from the bingo cards. The bingo cards, we're going to do from the hashtags after Luria. Okay? And then we'll do the bingo cards after the last talk with Angela Lee and Lydia from the bucket. So, is everybody ready to learn more about live video? I'm hoping so, yes. With that in mind, let's get Luria up here and learn some stuff. All right.
Yay, more live video. Big yes if you're excited. You're all weighed down on the Rice Krispie treats, aren't you? All right, so I just want to make sure, was everybody in the last session? I'm going to go over the 4 levels of live streaming just real quick in case there wasn't anybody in that one. Level 1 being the selfie stream. So we're going to talk about like ways you can use this. How do you put all of the stuff that I'm talking about into action? Level 1 being the selfie stream, the handheld, hold your phone right up here, but doing it professionally, right? With the no up the nose shots. Level 2, the phone plus some gear. Then level 3, from a computer, like we have down here. And then level 4, TV quality streaming. So again, just a wrap up of those 4 levels of live streaming. And let's dive into kind of what you can put into practice in terms of the content that you create and what levels these might be good for. So we'll dive into all of that. Now, I know that several people, were like, okay, well, how do I put level 2 into action? I want to do level 2 right now. So you can head on over to livestreamingpros.com/level2 and get a free gear guide that lists the exact gear that you need to get that will help you put your phone in. It's Android or iPhone. So take a picture of that, write it down, and then get started, right? All right, I'm waiting on anybody else taking picture. No, go for it. I just wanted to give you a time. Okay, so the biggest question that I get with live video is, what the heck do I say? Or how many times can I tell them about whatever you do? And if you come up to me and ask me, why I do this, I don't know what to say. I can give you a million reasons in whatever business you are, because the key to thinking about live video and the content that you're creating is not thinking about it like yourself. It's stepping out of your environment. It's stepping out from the day-to-day life that you live and thinking about it from your customer's perspective. What do they want to know? What do they need to know? What intrigues them? From my perspective, I will say this. I sit behind a computer all freaking day. My life is boring. However, doing videos for 11 years, I know that by everybody else's standards, my life is fascinating. I come here, I do fun stuff. What I do on the computer is actually of interest to people. So I just have to look at it from, what do they want to know? Or how can I take the things that I'm doing that I find monotonous or boring, or it's just what I do, it's just what I know. How can I flip that around and make it interesting, or at least just let people see that? So we're gonna, I think you'll by the time this is done, you'll have a better understanding of how that goes. So Google themselves says this is a stat about YouTube. However, as we were hearing earlier, Facebook, their search is actually coming up. And they're doing really well, and they're pushing towards what Google can do. And when you think about video and live video, people are watching both video and live video for a lot of the same reasons. So Google says people watch video because they want to do They want to learn how to do something. The college industry is in jeopardy right now because everybody's just going to get a master's degree from YouTube, right? So you can learn so much with video, and same thing for live video. You can teach, you can tell people how to, you can show people how to do things. People watch video because they want to buy. This is great for business, right? They want to know if the purchase that they're thinking about actually makes sense for them. And this is another reason why if you offer this information, if you showcase what you are as a company, and you not only provide the information they want to buy, like that they need to know in order to buy your product or your service, and then you put a positive spin on that and a human side to that, like I was talking about earlier today, that combo of information and just relationship building is intense and amazing. Third reason, they want to learn. So as opposed to I want to buy, I want to learn. How many of you like to know more than your friends? A lot of us do, right? Like you go to a party or you have a dinner, with your friends, and you want to share the information you know. You want to have little quick tips, or you want to have knowledge that other people don't have. That's just human nature. So help them be the shining star amongst their friends, and you become the hero. I want to be inspired. Gosh, interviews, inspiring stories. I mean, I guarantee in your business, there you can find inspiration, even if it may seem boring, right? You can find inspiring stories. You can look to your customers for ways that they've used your product or service that will inspire other customers. You don't have to be the one telling the story. But I mean, the reason that we love, maybe watching videos of a one-legged man accomplish things that we with two legs can't even do. That's an inspiring story. Now, you may not have something that amazing to share, but you can find inspiration in so many different ways. You just have to look for it. So I want to I want to buy, I want to learn, and I want to be inspired. So help them, give them content to achieve these things. It doesn't all have to be in one video or one live stream, but mix and match, pepper in, and you become their source for information. You become their source for inspiration. You become their source for everything surrounding your business, right? And then, like I was saying earlier, people want to know you. So this is an addition to what happens from the Google stat of what people are seeking out information for. People just want to hang. We like being a part of something bigger than ourselves. So give them a community, give them a place to be a part of your world, and you're allowing them to not only be a part of you, you're not allowing them to be to get to know you, but it's also about the community, and I'll dig more deeply into that in a minute. So the 3-part strategy that you need to know for your live videos is this: consistency, live streams, and the afterlive. So consistency. You can have a weekly show. You can be the star of your own show. you have on level 3 or level 2, you sit down and you say, okay, guys, I'm going to be here for you every Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific, and I am going to give to you. I am going to educate you. I'm going to help you learn. I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to give. Value first in consistency. So I speak consistency in all kinds of ways, but both in terms of the amount of streams that you do, the day and time that you are doing it, and actually putting it into practice. You know, a lot of people, and a lot of reasons why people will try live streaming this year and then quit, and they'll say, oh, it didn't freaking work. Well, it didn't work because they weren't consistent with it. And it does take some time to see results with anything that you do in your business. How many of you launched your business and day one made money? One person, 2 people. That's awesome. But were you where you wanted to be on that day one?
No.
Right. So you had to consistently keep at it, right? In order to keep growing, in order to achieve what you wanted to do. And I will be real honest with you, set expectations. Day one, when you launch your first live video, you may have 0 viewers on when you are live. You cannot let that worry you, because what happens in the afterlife, and I'll talk about that in a second. So, consistency. Set up a weekly show. Show the audience that you are going to provide value to them, and they will in return stick around and hang out with you. If you're providing the value that they want, of course. So that tells them, it kind of takes us back to the old days of TV, where we didn't have DVRs, right? Where we didn't have the ability to fast forward through commercials. We all came around, sat down at the TV, and we watched a show. That's kind of what you're trying to create with a weekly show. So in content, I know that's the one thing on your mind right now. What would I do a weekly show about? I don't have enough to say. So we'll get there. Live streams. This is the level 1, level 2 stuff that you can do. These are the things that you just go live in your life, and you bring them into the world that you exist in. So if you get a new puppy, who's gotten a new puppy in the last 6 months? All right. So you could have gone live on a page. It doesn't have to do anything with your business. You literally just go live and you say, hey, I got a new puppy. Show your puppy, hang out, talk. People love dogs and cats. What can I say? Right? Cat videos. Oh, so awesome. So you just bring them into your life. And literally, these live streams are not about your business. They're about you telling people, I am here for you and I want to hang out with you. We'll get into some examples. So the afterlife. This is the afterlife of your live video. While what we want is for everybody to join us during our weekly show, most people are actually going to see it after the fact, after it's live. And what's your name again? Katie. Oh, sorry. Katie was saying earlier that she gets some engagement during the stream itself, but after the fact, and after she starts to boost it to her local audience, after she starts to target it to the right people, you get even more views and you get even more engagement. So while we want to take advantage of live, and by the way, Facebook specifically is prioritizing live video in the news feeds. So if you do a live video, it's actually going to get more reach. It's going to be sent out to more people than if you do a video or an image post or a text post. So that's why you can use live video to help get more reach, right? But you also want to make sure that you answer questions and comments and stuff like that in the after part of the video, so that people know to join you in the actual live streams. Because the more you engage with them, the more they want to be there when you're live. It's called FOMO. It's FOMO, fear of missing out. People don't want to miss out on the real stuff, right? So that's your 3-part strategy. Number 1, the 5 ways, is education. Kind of talked about this already, right? This is what we do in our show. We educate. I have a live streaming show about live streaming. Kind of weird, but I talk about live streaming. I help people get better. I help people do certain things so that they can be a notch above everybody else. I educate twice a week for me. I did daily for 9 months, and I do not suggest that most of you start with daily. It is a lot of effort, a lot of time. And until you are ready to commit to daily, don't do it. Start with once a week. So again, you can go back to the how-to. People want to learn how to do things. So teach them how to do things. You don't have to give away all of your secrets, but if they can walk away with actionable tips, actionable steps to take, and actually go do something, after watching one of your live streams, again, you're the hero, and they will be back. One of my favorite tips for creating educational content is to take the steps of accomplishing something and turn that into 15 different streams. So somebody call out what you do in your business.
Make jewelry.
Make jewelry. Okay. I have absolutely no idea what it takes to make jewelry. I assume you take some pieces of something and then you put it all together. I don't know how that goes, to be honest. I've never made jewelry. I'm not specifically a jewelry kind of person, but that is a gap in knowledge, right? So I could be educated on how to make jewelry. And here's the thing, you sell jewelry. You may think, I don't want to teach people how to do my job. They won't buy from me. But in reality, you show them how to do something. All people want is the knowledge that they can. And then they'll go ahead and buy from you anyway because they don't want to actually do the work. How many of us don't actually want to do what we know how to do? We hire it out. That's what you're doing when you break down the how-tos or the steps. So you could take step 1, this is what you're going to do, and this is our action for today. And then next week, you do step 2. And then step 3 and step 4, or how many ever steps it takes to accomplish something that people want to know how to do. You can also cover the whys and the whats. So that's my speech this morning was more about the why and the what you're doing, right? And this is more the how. So you can break it all up and you can kind of cover different parts of your business and things that will draw people into you by breaking it up into these different types of things. So we have Shouled It. Where are you? She was in here earlier. No? Okay. So she does a fantastic how-to. She kind of shows off her scarf, and then she starts pulling things out of the scarf because it holds things. So she actually, it's like one of those scarves that people wear, but inside it's actually a purse. And it actually turns into a purse. And she shows you how much stuff you can actually fit in there just by pulling things out. It's kind of humorous, actually. And then she turns it into a purse at the end of the day. So you can walk people through that. And when you're doing that on live video, what happens is you start to show people that. And then they're like, oh, well, can I do this? Oh, how do I do that? Well, can I do that? You know, and so people start asking questions, and then you can answer them, and it becomes a conversational flow rather than a hardcore, I'm here to teach you this, and I'm going to teach you this, right? So it's a really conversational aspect to live video. And then constant contact. You can see their title, Facebook Live. Write your email content in 15 minutes or less. Teaching you how to do something, educating you on how to accomplish this task. And I love the 15 minutes or less, because that puts oh, well, that sounds easy, spin on it. I think I could do that, right? It draws people in. Although I would suggest landscape, by the way. So those are examples of things you can do at a level 3 or a level 4. You can use level 2 for that kind of content as well, but level 3, that type of content serves you really well on a level 3 system using like Wirecast, so that you can kind of set up and you can, like I showed you this morning, you can put the banner across the bottom, you can help walk people through the steps. People are visual learners for the most part, so having the ability to break out those steps for people and tell them what you're telling them visually helps tremendously. But again, you can do it on level 2 like Constant Contact did. This is one where people often think, okay, well, I know my business. I'm going to go on live video. I'm going to do this. And then they get off, and then they're like, crap, I forgot this, I forgot that. I didn't tell them that. This isn't a complete video. This sucks, I'm pulling it down. This happens a lot. So prepare. So bullet points are your friend in live video. And you know your stuff in and out. But what happens when you get on live is the adrenaline goes. And then maybe people are actually, you're worrying about a couple of things. You're worrying about, oh crap, I'm live. What am I going to do? Is my hair okay? Is there something in my teeth? You're worrying about all these things. And then also, you're worrying about the fact that no one showed up yet, because, by the way, it takes a while for people to get into your video. And there is a lag from the time you say something to the time they hear it, and then the time they respond to the time you see it, and then the time that you can respond to that. So there are techniques to cover all of that. However, then you're either worrying about the fact that no one showed up yet, or that there are people showing up and then they're not engaging yet, or you're worried, or you're paying attention to what they're saying, and then you're getting distracted from your entire message and you don't deliver on the value that you promised, and then people don't like that, right? So there's a lot of things going on when you're on live video, and so you must prepare. And even I prepare. I've been doing this for over a decade. I still make bullet points because I will get distracted by somebody asking a question. It's an awesome question, and I take it on a squirrel chase down there, and then I'm like, oh crap, what was I saying, right? So it doesn't matter how much you practice or how good you are at it. There will be times that you chase that squirrel, and you need to come back to your bullet point list. I don't suggest you script. Don't script it. Don't worry about that. It's not like a video. Live video, you don't want to script because it needs to be real, raw, and human. So it's okay that you say ums and ahs, and it's okay that you say, what was I saying? That's right. It's okay. So, but you just make a bullet point list, think about everything that you want to say, and then just keep drawing back to that. So prepare. Number 2. Fun education. Think Bill Nye the Science Guy. How many of you loved him? Love him. So Bill Nye is a great example of fun education. And what I mean specifically by that is, this is Jeff Walker. If you guys don't, do any of you know Jeff Walker? Okay. He's one of the top, he is probably the top internet marketer. If you're not following him, jeffwalker.com, go start to pay attention to the things that he's teaching, because they're really good. But he teaches marketing. So he does a weekly video about marketing and about branding and things like that. And so he was traveling one day, and instead of his normal video where he was in his studio or in his home, he actually did this this awesome video that I love. He's at the Hard Rock Hotel, and this would have been perfect live. It was video, but it would have been perfect live. So this is what he was doing. He was like, hey, I'm at the Hard Rock Hotel, and this is what I'm doing here, blah, 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 blah. And I just wanted to kind of show you, this is a lesson learned from the Hard Rock Hotel, because he talks about marketing and branding, by the way. So he walks you down the Hard Rock, I'm not going to fall down on this, walks you down this hallway where they have guitars, and they have Madonna's bustier, and they have all of this stuff. It's awesome stuff to look at. They have signatures and photos and crazy stuff, right? He's like, this is awesome, awesome, awesome. And then in the middle of all of that, there's a t-shirt that he's like, this. is merchandising, right? In the middle of the branding stuff, there's merchandising. There's the ability to sell, right? And so he's walking you through this, and he's teaching you how to brand and merchandise and integrate all of that in one kind of in a seamless way. But he's doing it on the fly. He's doing it in a fun environment. There are lessons learned that we can all teach our customers. There are things that we can that we can educate on, but in a fun manner, as opposed to in the weekly show where you're probably at your office or home and talking to the audience, kind of just me on camera, right? So there are different ways you can approach this. That would be a level 1 or a level 2. That would not be a level 3 or 4, because you want to be out and about. You want to be mobile. You want to take people on a journey. And through all of this, by the way, every level 1, level 2 video that you do, it's about taking them on a journey. It's about telling a story. It's about helping them become part of your world. Behind the scenes. Everybody loves behind the scenes stuff. Is there anybody that doesn't? No hands went up. So we all love to be voyeuristic. We love to know what's going on. And you can tell how total a geek I am because this is Deadpool, if you know that movie. But this is obviously a high production. Everybody loves behind the scenes of movies. And a lot of us think, oh, well, no one wants to know behind the scenes of what I do. But that's actually exactly the opposite. I don't care what you do. There's stuff that you can show, workflows, processes. Who was I talking to earlier about the sandblasting, right? There's so much stuff that you can show people about how you work that people really are dying to know. They want to know this stuff. And that, again, is a level 1 or level 2 type of setup. So just get on in there. Get raw, get dirty, go crazy. Have fun with that kind of thing. Number 4, interviews. So I showed you Vicki Lashenko earlier. But interviews are fantastic. It doesn't have to be online with level 3. You could do a level 2 setup where you're interviewing somebody in person. I did an interview with Shelly earlier in the hallway. Live streamed it. We just hung out. So it's, people, that is a great way to actually get other people's perspectives. And he was mentioning that you could actually mention competitors in your website for SEO purposes, right? You could actually interview your competitors, and you could become camaraderie-ish, like that word. And you can interview customers. You could interview people in the industry about trends. You could interview people about how they go about. If somebody call out what they do.
Fix cars.
What?
Fix cars.
Fix cars. So talk to the mechanic, interview the mechanic. Interview a customer about how awesome their experience was. You could interview a manufacturer of a part that you use for your customers, right? And not every single customer is going to be interested in every single interview, but that's the beauty of it, because as you do more, you actually attract more of your customers into your world, so at least they're going to see or find things that they're interested in over time, right? So interviews. You already saw that. So Q&A. This is an awesome one. I love Q&A. So just sitting down and saying, what questions do you have for me? It could be an open Q&A. It could be kind of a pre-planned Q&A. But there is a danger to Q&A on live video. This is what some people have encountered. That's the first video that you do. Don't do that. If you do Q&A as your very first video, live video, You will have no one showing up because no one's used to you being live yet, because it takes some time to tell them that you are live. And then you will have no questions, and you're like, open Q&A. Anyone? I'm taking Q&A. Anyone? It gets really awkward really fast. So here's what I encourage you to do. Either prepare Q&A and have questions submitted in advance. You can actually do like a video, or you can do text posts over all your social media. You send an email out to your email list, and you can ask for questions, and then you have a Q&A planned, and that's a great way to do it. But or once you get people used to actually having that engagement, and you get people kind of to show up, and you know that they will ask questions, then you can do a live Q&A where you don't have anything planned. But it's always a good idea to have some things planned at the very least, just a few questions to kick it off. And you can do Q&As at any level. It doesn't really matter where or how or anything. Q&As are pretty flexible. A bonus tip for you, building the relationship. I've talked about this a lot. See, I used cats and dogs. And you guys all like that picture, right? Yep. See? It works. Show your dogs. Show your cats. So that's the level 1 stream that I'm talking about. I did this. I was traveling. I was at an airport, and I had a weird experience at the airport, and so I shared it. I shared it on my business page. Had absolutely nothing to do with my business. This is exactly what I was talking about before. It doesn't always have to be about your business. It has to be about you and your business. Chase did a great example of this. He just got on live, and he did kind of he was talking about his thoughts on a particular subject. We spread love, happiness, and kindness, and what I liked about this was that it was a message he wanted to send out, but it was also something that told people what he was about. What is the brand about, and what do you get from us? And he was able to deliver his message. He was able to tell people, to get people behind his message, right? So there are many, many ways you can use this, but these are just a few. Again, level 1 or level 2 to build that relationship, to be personable. Now I want to wrap back around on community. See? Everyone loves cats! In this picture, you are the food. What you are trying to do with your live videos and any social networking that you're doing is create a community of cats, of course. But you are the food, and you are drawing people in to that center point. But it's not all about you. It's actually about them. And you always got to keep that in mind. And the more you create a community environment, and the more you create an environment that people want to be a part of, regardless of if you're there or not, then you become the food, and these cats, your viewers, your customers, they actually start to hang out alone as well. And cats are kind of known for being a little, loners, right? But they intermingle here and there. If somebody's picking on one of them, they will kind of protect them, right? So this is what actually happens with a community built correctly. People actually start to go over here. Joe goes over to Amy's page because they've gotten to know each other in this community when you're doing a live video. And by the way, when you're doing a live video, as you get to know your community, you can say, oh, sorry, I thought that was the next slide. You can actually say, hey, Amy, Joe is actually from Kearney too. You guys should meet. And then you meet them, and then they go hang out together. But they always know that you're the kind of center that brought them together, right? So you are the food, your community are the cats. If you can keep that picture in mind as you're building your live video communities, just always remember that it's about everybody else. It's not so much about you, even though the content is revolving around you. Does that make sense? Anybody confused about that? Okay. I used this term in the first speech. You become a micro-celebrity, right? When you're on video, and that may scare some of you, but it's actually a really intimate type of thing that happens when you're doing more live videos. Imagine if Morgan Freeman, if you were watching a live stream from Morgan Freeman, because everybody likes Morgan Freeman, right? Then he said your name. He was like, oh, hi, Luria. I'm glad you're here. Dude, I actually don't really care about celebrities. This was probably the only celebrity's name I actually know. But I would be like, oh, cool, that's awesome. He just said my name. Would everybody else? Yes? No? You become a micro-celebrity. Obviously, we're not all Morgan Freeman. But when you call people out, they're like, oh, that's cool, right? So there are techniques, and I'll dive a little bit more in depth on that. But you are a celebrity. I don't say that to make your head big. I say that to make you realize what happens when you're on live video. People get to know you, and then they come into the shop because they know, like, and trust you. And then when they meet you, right, they're like, oh, I watch you on video. Yeah? It happens. So be prepared for it and embrace that aspect of it. Taylor Swift. I don't care what you think of her or her music. She is one of the best people I have ever seen at engaging with her community, at treating her community like celebrities in and of themselves, that they feel special around her. There's an awesome video. If you Google Taylor Swift Christmas, maybe, you'll find a video of how she treats her community. She knows their individual names. She sent them Christmas gifts. There's a lot that she did there. And so, as I know you didn't walk in here thinking I would tell you to follow Taylor Swift, but go at least watch that video, because it gives you an idea of what you can do on a smaller scale. And of course she had people helping her, but it comes from her attitude of how important every single one of her viewers is, or listeners, or whatever she calls them. So, call their names out, treat them as special, not just, oh, hi Roy, oh, hi Jeff, oh, hi Luria, oh, hi Amy. But it's a, hey Amy, thanks for being here. Hey Luria, I'm glad you're here. You don't have to say it with every single one, but call them out and make them feel special. Learn something about them. So when I first started, I actually had a spreadsheet. And still to this day, I actually use a whiteboard. I use an up-desk whiteboard that I sit and write notes about people's, about anything I learn about people. So at my set, I'm just writing and people can't even see it. So they don't know I'm doing it. So that when I learn something about them, learn their cat's name, I learn where they're from, I learn what they do for a living, any tidbit, and you have to ask, by the way, in order to learn those things. I write it down, and then the next time they come on, I try and bring that into the conversation. Just slight, it doesn't have to be anything big, just slight call-outs is all it takes. And on Periscope, for instance, Facebook Live, this doesn't happen as much, but on like Periscope, people have avatar names where it's like BTX123. It means nothing to you, right? So you don't want to sit there and be like, BTX123, how are you today? It sounds really weird. So what I do instead is I'll say, BTX123, what's your real name? Tell me. Thank you for being here. And I'll write it down off camera. It can be on camera, it doesn't matter, but that's my little trick. Now I've told the whole world. But I write that down, and so then the next time I see them, I just glance down. They don't know what I'm looking at. Oh, hey, Johnny, I'm so glad you're back, right? It's just the little things. And you're not going to accomplish it with every single viewer that ever comes on, but try for one, and then try for two, and then try for three. Like, it's just a rolling snowball. And this creates massive loyalty to you and, in return, to your brand. Introduce people to each other. I talked about that. So, if you know that people exist in the same city, and for a lot of your local businesses, this is actually a really great tip because you probably already know some of your customers, right? And so you can actually introduce them to each other and kind of help that community grow and expand. And I want you to be thankful for every single one of those people that show up. The first several streams, you may not have many people show up. If you had one person show up, or if you have 0 people and they watch it on Afterlive, but every single one of those is a potential customer. Every single one of those makes a difference. Every single one of those has the potential to refer you to somebody else. So when we all want numbers online. I mean, I can throw out, I have 2 million social media followers. But really, 2 million people aren't watching me every single time I go live, right? And so I'm thankful for those individual ones that do show up each and every time. And so I think this is a really important thing. I know that a lot of you do that with your in-person customers. You make them feel special, and you are thankful for each and every one of them. But online, we somehow lose sight of that. We're like, oh, I only had 6 people on there. Well, if I was standing in a room talking to 6 people, I would be thrilled that they wanted to hear that. I am thrilled that each and every one of you are sitting in here spending your time with me. So thank you for that. You got to take that same attitude online. So again, to review, you've got the education, the fun education, behind the scenes, interviews, Q&A, and your live streams where you're just purely building relationship. So in order to help you implement this, because the one thing that I have found that people struggle with is I can tell them all these things and then you walk away and you're like, what do I do with that? So I've created a content calendar that you can download, and what it'll do is actually give you a plan of action. It says, do this on this day of the month. On that day of the month, you're doing this, and then you do that next week. So that you can actually follow a plan of action so that you can then put this into action. And you obviously, after you get started, you'll be able to take that and run with it and change it up and personalize it to you. But it involves a lot of what we've already talked about. So hopefully that helps. And if you didn't take a picture, let me know after. Call to action. This is one of the biggies that businesses struggle with on live streams. I freaking love the call to action on a live stream, but I hate selling. I've done webinars and I've done sales pitches, and I'm like, I hate selling. Anybody with me on that?
Yes.
Yes. The sales process sucks for a lot of us. But we have to do it as a business, right? So on live video, embrace the conversational call to action. This is actually a beautiful thing. You do want to have a call to action on every live stream. Take the action that you want them to take. Tell them very specifically how to do that. But when you're having a conversation with people, it actually is very simple. Somebody asks you a question about what kind of content they should do on live video, and my answer is, oh, you know what? I actually have a free calendar for that. So you can go on to livestreamingpros.com/calendar and download that and take action on that. But and then I can answer it a little bit more in depth there. But I can very easily work that in. And because you're just talking, and because you're not scripted, and because you're not trying to be perfect, because you cannot be perfect on live video, because you're not trying to do any of that, the call to action becomes really genuine. You just say, hey, you know what? I've been giving you some great value here. I hope that actually helps you take action on this stuff. Or, I'll get to that in a second. But, and if you'd like to take further action, if you'd like to take that next step with us, go over here and download this or buy this or whatever that call to action is for you. And if you're just doing a live stream, that may feel a little awkward to pitch to a product that you haven't been talking about. But what you can do instead is your call to action can be, join me for my weekly show, or share this video, or like this video, subscribe to my page, things like that. Those are perfectly great call to actions to get them to engage with you further. So this is where you can find me. If we have time, I'd be happy to take Q&A. I don't know kind of what time we're oh, there you are. I didn't see you. Okay, do you guys have any questions? All right, hands are going up already. So, because, just go 24 hours, you'll be fine. So what happens with live video is you actually need to have the question was, how long should I stay on? You have some time that people will get the notification and then come on. So there's a drawing out process that happens. So because of that, the stat is, and this is proven, and this is just something that I've seen naturally happen as well, 20 minutes is your key time. Not to get off in 20 minutes necessarily, but that your peak will happen at that 20-minute mark. And then they'll drop off and stuff, but you'll have a peak right around there. 18 to 20. And so, with live video, you can actually go longer. People will come and go. So you got to keep reminding them that they will, what they're getting and what they should stick around for. But so start at 20. I often do my shows at 30 or 45.
So I have a seasonal business, and we're open for just 2 weeks a year.
Okay.
We do daily live video going through our specials and just kind of what we have going on. It's in a category that we cannot boost, though.
Oh.
Do you have any suggestions on how to get more reach? We do ask viewers to like, to share, to comment, all that.
Yeah.
But do you have any other suggestions?
So the question was, he's in a seasonal type of business and he cannot boost that category of business. So because you can't do that, you do have to ask, but are you asking at the right time? So you'll get more reach by asking for that share and that reaction in the comments earlier in the video. So within the first 45 seconds, tell them what you're going to talk about and then ask for the share. That will help that reach grow, because if you're waiting like till the end or till the middle or even a minute in, then you actually lose some of that momentum through Facebook. Yeah.
You talked about getting to know your regulars and having something genuine to know about them. But does that leave you then for a setup of failure if they were to walk in your store and you haven't seen their face, but you still want to appear genuine, that you genuinely know them, but until they say their name, you haven't put A and B together yet?
Right, sure. So most people understand that. There would be a few people who would be like, know me and call me out, right? So what you can do instead is you can say, you can always say kind of one of your kind of closing outs, if you will. You could say, hey, if you do walk into the store, I would love to see you. Introduce yourself and tell me who you are. Or something to that effect that tells them to take that specific action of telling you, or you could say, tell me you watch us on Facebook Live. And then at that point, you can ask their name and then it'll click, right? So just create that action that you want them to take, and that should solve most of that problem.
Would you suggest if you're building this live stream weekly content, just letting that grow itself organically, or are you maybe putting video or photo or text post to build that audience prior to?
So what you want to do there, the question is how to get more views essentially to the Facebook Live weekly show. Do you let it grow organically or do you do other stuff? My favorite thing about the whole after live process is, well, it's actually a pre-live and a post-live. So you can, if you have an email list, you can send out every Monday. I actually send an email out to my email list and I tell them exactly what's coming up this week in terms of pre-planned content. If you're at a level 3 or a level 4, you can actually schedule your live streams on Facebook, and that gives you so much more power to help grow the live stream. So what happens is you schedule the post, it tells people what they're getting, and then there's a get reminder button right on that. And if you tell them to click that, they can click it, and then they'll actually get reminded. And on Facebook, this is the best way to ensure that people are getting notified of when you go live. Every other notification that exists on Facebook is a little wonky and isn't perfect. So not everybody will hear that you are live when you are live. So they're always working on it and they're always improving it, but that's the best way. On a level 2, if you're not going to go to level 3, then you want to just make sure that you promote it ahead of time with the images and the call outs. You could do a live video promoting the live video that's coming up even. All right, thank you guys so much. Thank you.
All right, we will be starting a new session right away. I'm very, very excited. We're going to have Angela talk about it. I'm sure all of you would love to know how to get on a show like Good Morning America. Well, our new speaker is going to do that.